How are you?
Morning, Zaitun.
I'd like you to introduce yourself and the title you hold right here at Old Mutual.
Thank you. Good morning, colleagues. So for those who don't know me, I'm Andrew. I look after digital data and innovation for Old Mutual Group. I believe I know most, if not everyone, including the new people. So that's what I do here at Old Mutual.
You've been nominated on this segment for Know Your Leader. And is it a privilege for you?
No, I mean, well, it's being put on the spot, but it's an honor. Yeah, I mean, I'm always happy to share for people to know me better, maybe ask questions, but not anonymous, everyone asks a question directly. Yeah, but I'm really honored to be nominated for this segment.
Okay, so let me get straight to it. And throughout your career journey, so what's that one advice that you remember you've ever been told in your career journey that has helped you, has molded you, has shaped you? One advice.
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, you get a lot of advice through your career. So let me see one which sort of is thematic. Yeah, and I'll give it to the story. I feel the greatest advice I've ever gotten in whichever position I've been is that you're the owner of your destiny. A lot of times you blame others, like why I'm not successful or something not happening. And I'll give a story when I started my career. So as I put it, I've been in banking before joining Old Mutual for about 16 years. And when I started my career, I was called an integration assistant. To this day, I don't know how they got that title, but I got a temp job to assist in a project. It was called modernization, and it was helping just in terms of, it was an administrative role. And I was coming out of, I'd done fairly well in university. A lot of my peers were going to the Big Four, so those who are about my age and know the Big Four, your KPMG, your Deloitte, and that was, at that point in time, that was what was anyone getting out of uni. And I was here doing this thing. Yes, it was a bank, and it was a good bank, it's a tier 1 bank. But then I was seeing people who I graduated with who were there, and like, let me tell you, because I used to do things like arranging training and the conferences, and then there was one event where we used to go for, that time, I think banks had a lot of money, and we would go to lunch at Stanley when you're in training. But then when they went and they counted the list, it was only for the people who were attending the training. I wasn't part of the list. I asked myself, am I a second-rate citizen? What is going on here? And I was very cross. And I asked, I remember I called a friend and asked, what's this? And then I also called my father at that time, because I felt, come on, all these things I've done, I'm entitled to be up there. And he told me there are two perspectives in life, right? You can complain about things and complain, and that's normally free. And you can complain to the end of the earth. Or you can say, how do I get myself to that point? And that for me is advice that has always resonated with me, is that no one knows themselves better than yourself, right? So you've got to take those opportunities and stop blaming others. So, I mean, for me, I found that always thing. So that's what I apply every day when I come to work and even in my life.
Okay. That's a good one. I thought you'd say the one that you like posting on your status. Make it exist first, and then
make it better.
Okay. Yeah, there's that one as well. So that is what I learned from him, by the way. And in also your career as you've elevated through. So I know we've all made mistakes in one way or another. So which is that one mistake that you can remember that actually you learned a lesson from it and has made it better?
Hey, that's a tough one. I mean, mistakes are many. I'll say, I don't know which example.
One failed project.
Yeah, I mean, there are a couple, because I don't think you can ever go doing anything where everything is perfect. I think most thing is that when you make a mistake, it's not the mistake, but how you recover from it. And in my career, prior to joining WEB, I had one such moment where I picked, we'll go to the specifics. what I thought was an opportunity that I would succeed in or would fit with me, but it turned out not to. And not something you're faced with like through your career, like as you're growing within an organization, an opportunity comes up. I think you're presented with choices, and sometimes you've got certain information, but you may not know everything, right? And that was one case where, I got an opportunity to work for one of our large banks, but it never panned out as I intended, because then there was information that I didn't have. And I think the most important thing is having the bravery of also, when something happens, to own up. That's one thing I always value. So, okay, makosa imefanyika. You can think about it, but okay, then what next? So for me, that was one example of that. But I'm happy now. I think the other choices I've made so far are good, and I'm enjoying what I do.
Clearly. And currently in your role, what's that one thing that you'd wish we knew about in your role? One thing that you wish people will know about your role?
So, in my role and here at Old Mutual, new things come up. There's not a single day that I don't have something new that we solve. So I look at my job, and what I do is, I used to be in tech back in the day, old tech. And I think for me, my everyday is always about sort of how you solve problems for the organization, ultimately for customers, because that's where we exist. So that's part of my job. Like, I can tell you the number of things, and through my bosses here, we always, new things that are coming up. And for me, that's exciting for my job. But also at the same time, it's exciting. Things are as good as they're done, or they're executed. So that sometimes gives you a bit of anxiety, like, okay, will I do all these things? But I'm happy with the support I receive, from my team, who also, they face the same sort of influx of ideas. They can know, I'll send them things. I know some of them are already looking, when I make that point. So that's it. But I think it was also the role of what I look after is very looking outwardly. I think it's a question that Robert asked. How we're relevant to consumers, to the market, in the next 3, 5, 10, 20, 30 years. Yeah. And for me, that's a challenge that I've taken as a good one for organization, to be that agent of change when it comes to how we're applying technology, how we're applying new ways of thinking around business, to make us relevant as far as the services we extend to customers.
Yeah, and it actually leads me to the next question, because what's that favorite thing you love about leading this team, the digital and data? It can be one or two or even more, but what comes to mind right now?
I know that's an instant one. It's my team. It's you guys. It's a team that I work with. Not only in my digital data team, but in Old Mutual. Yeah. I think we've got such a positive culture. I think everyone I get to chat with, and I think sometimes we don't toot our horn loud enough. And I say I've had the privilege of working for maybe now going 18 years and in about 6 or so organizations. I can truly and honestly say the ease with which we interact, the ease with which, like the questions today that you're asking, I've been here for about two years now. The people, that's what I enjoy about Old Mutual, my team. You look forward. So I was recently away on leave. And when I
Congratulations! By the way. Oh, Tombi.
So now I'm a father of 4.
Wow.
So we were recently blessed with twin girls. We just turned 6 weeks yesterday. And yeah, it's a blessing. I'm very excited. I'm very happy. But when I came back, maybe it's because of the sleepless nights, but when I came, I was very relieved to come back. But I was like, we were on all these sort of meetings, but then I was like, I haven't seen like my team, and because when we get to when we come together, we're chatting. So for me, really, what stands out for me is just the people in this organization were like such a great asset, and I don't think we should ever underestimate the impact it has. Old Mutual is not just the brand. Old Mutual is each and every one of us and how we show up every day. So for me, that's the biggest thing in terms of my role. Yeah.
sentimental, kidogo hapa tulie. But one thing I love about you is the fact that he knows all our strengths, especially the people who he works close with. And in even rooms that you're not there, he'll ensure that he mentions and just give you your flowers whenever it's possible. So that's a good thing. It keeps encouraging people, so keep at it. Thank you. And
unafanya ni blush.
Oh. So aside from work, I'd like to know a memorable childhood experience that has actually shaped you to be the man you are, the dad you are, the spouse you are. One memorable childhood experience.
Yeah, I think should have said a lot prepared better, but let me try to remember. So I think one of the memories that I have as a childhood was walking to Mau Mau caves. So if anyone who has ever been to Nalmoro, yeah, there's a place called Bantu Lodge, and you can walk to the. I think I was 13 years old. You can walk to the Mau Mau caves, and you know, as you walk, you see all this history about Kenya and stuff. And that has shaped who I am. So outside of working for Mutual, looking after digital and data, and being a father, one of the things I love is the outdoors and camping. And I know some people like Robert, we talk a lot. So I love building my car, and I love spending time outdoors. I get an opportunity this weekend to camp tomorrow, so actually I'm preparing for that this evening. But why I link that to my childhood memories is that walk, and I remember when we walked, we met with a herd of buffaloes. And that memory is so imprinted. And that, I think, for me, started the connection I have with sort of being outdoors, because I find a lot of relief. I find a lot of how I get sort of downtime with myself, and also a way I connect with my son and my family. So that has shaped a lot. So, I mean, I love the outdoors, I love camping, I love reading a lot about history. So I read, a lot of books, archives every so often. So that really is what I do outside, and I think it's been shaped by that experience, which is really profound.
Oh, nice. And I know you're a tech person, and if you were to be asked today, what was that one technological device that came up and you were so excited about?
I think it's the first time I got a smartphone.
When was that?
Why are you asking that question?
Okay, so how old were you when you get to it? How old were you?
No, I remember my first smartphone was a gift when I left my first job. I mean, in banking, I got it was an S8, I think. But it's a happy story and a sad one, because I got an S8. I had a Mulika Music for the longest time. A Motorola, it was I think an A2 something. And then I got this S8, which was a gift for, it was a farewell gift. Mm-hmm. But as luck would have it, I got it, I think, on a Friday. I think on Sunday the screen was broken. I think so too. But that was like, at that time, you know, it was so basic. You never had all these mobile OSs that are there. The image was so pixelated, and it was just such a bad one. But I remember that I was a business, right? That time it was CEOs and big guys who had it. But it lasted for all of 2 days. I think it's yeah, it was.
And I know time is not on our side, but I'd like to ask you the last question. Probably one or two. Okay, let me just ask this one. So if your team was a sports team, which team would it be and why? Wait, Ghana's, keep quiet. We are not happy.
So sports and the team.
Yes, if your team, like let's say the digital and data team was a sports team, which one do you think it will be, and why?
So I'm not a big soccer fan of football. I actually call it soccer, but football. I used to try and follow Liverpool, but that's another story.
So what do you like watching? Do you like sports?
I mean, I watch rugby every so often, but I wouldn't say I'm a sports fan.
So
let me just say sport, not the team.
Okay, fine.
I think my team is like they're like a hockey team. Hockey team, why is that they do a lot of movement. There's a lot of coordination I see between them, but also in their respective ways, irrespective of their position, and they hit hard. So they have an impact. And I think for me is what I learned a lot was over my career, was as growing into leadership and also learning it is. There was this thing, always be told, okay, and I think it's stopped now, like, what's your weakness, and then how can we improve on that? I think in the way you show up at work is bringing your individuality, your personality. So in the same way, each person plays a different position. I learned over time is that as a leader, you focus on how you make a person, understanding them in the best version of themselves. And as a leader is then you providing the support to accentuate and coordinate those elements so that they are able to achieve or hit the goal. I think that's the most important thing. So for me, when I look at them, I always see them like a hockey team. I don't know, because when the clubs are hitting for hockey, and then finally when you shoot, then you're like, wow, you guys came together all together and then landed this year. So hopefully I'll start watching football and then I can say Gunners.
Wacha usiwataje. Ile kiburi watatoa hapa sasa. Don't mention Arsenal, but whatever. Thank you so much for your time. Also for just being vulnerable, talking about what you love, who you are, and we can see the leader in you. Continue serving, continue winning, and just one message to the OM team, as we wind up.
Okay. Thanks, Zaitun. I guess I've said a lot of the message. I think for us is like we've got, as an organization, we've got a lot of potential. I think the things that Isaac was talking about, being able to connect yourself and how you lead up to that, I think that's how we win. And I think just really down to ourselves as SDC, like we're always challenged. The things we're doing are transforming, right? They're not BAU-ish, so they're transforming. So for me, I think as OM, as an SDC team, is how we come together, being transparent where the challenges with the objective of us resolving those challenges and moving forward. Trying things in a space like you said. I'll even jump on that lunch on Tuesday. But challenging ourselves in terms of the things we're doing, accepting that in the way there will be some mistakes, but understanding not mistakes that will bring us down, but give us an opportunity to learn and be better. And just continue a positive culture that we have as an organization. Yeah.
Thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed that Know Your Leader session with Andrew Mwithiga. Until next time, see ya. Thank you.